Was the Silk Road just an online drug bazaar? A place where anyone with a computer and some cryptocurrency could buy anything they wanted, no questions asked? Or did it become something far darker? A digital underworld where the line between commerce and crime blurred beyond recognition? For years, it was known as the Amazon of illegal substances, a digital revolution that changed the way drugs were bought and sold, and a law enforcement nightmare that seemed impossible to shut down. But beneath the surface, rumors of murder for hire began to swirl, whispered in hidden forums and encrypted chat rooms. Could you really pay Bitcoin to have someone killed? Was it possible that a few clicks could turn a grudge into a deadly contract? The idea seemed ripped from a thriller novel, almost too wild to believe, but investigators took it seriously, because the stakes were life and death. Suddenly, the Silk Road wasn't just about drugs. It was about real-world violence orchestrated from behind a screen, where anonymity could be weaponized. Law enforcement now faced a chilling question. Had the site's founder crossed the line from libertarian idealist to criminal mastermind, willing to sanction murder to protect his empire? This story pulls back the curtain on the Silk Road's darkest secret, exploring its creation, its enigmatic founder, and the evidence that suggests it became more than just a drug market. We'll dive into the motivations, the risks, and the choices that shaped its legacy. We'll follow the investigators who pieced together digital clues to unmask the man behind the curtain, tracing every byte and breadcrumb through the shadows of the internet. And we'll examine the legacy of the Silk Road, a legacy that still haunts the internet's darkest corners, raising questions about freedom, danger, and the true cost of anonymity. The Silk Road was the brainchild of Ross Ulbricht, a young Texan with a passion for libertarian ideals and a restless curiosity about how technology could change society. Raised in Austin, Ulbricht was known for his sharp intellect and independent spirit, always questioning the rules and dreaming of a world with fewer restrictions. Rejecting a conventional career path, Ulbricht taught himself to code from scratch. He poured countless hours into building a digital marketplace where people could buy and sell illegal goods anonymously, far from the eyes of law enforcement. His vision was to create a truly free market, unbound by government control. To protect himself, he adopted the alias Dread Pirate Roberts, inspired by The Princess Bride, a name meant to be untraceable, and to suggest that anyone could take up the mantle. This persona added a layer of mystique and made it harder for authorities to pin down who was really in charge. Ulbricht ran the site with a mix of business savvy and philosophical zeal, writing lengthy manifestos about freedom and personal choice, and personally managing disputes between users. He saw himself as more than just a webmaster. He was a leader of a movement. The Silk Road launched in 2011, using Tor for anonymity and Bitcoin for untraceable payments. These technologies made it nearly impossible to track users, fueling the site's rapid growth and reputation for secrecy. It quickly exploded into a billion-dollar empire, with thousands of sellers and buyers from all over the world. The Silk Road became a bustling underground economy, changing the way people thought about online commerce. Ulbricht believed he was creating a safer, freer world, one where drug deals happened online, not on dangerous streets. He argued that this reduced violence and protected users from harm, even as critics warned of the risks. But as the site grew, so did the problems. Scammers, thieves, and undercover agents flooded in. Law enforcement agencies around the globe began to take notice, launching investigations and infiltrating the marketplace. The question became, how far would Dread Pirate Roberts go to protect his creation? Would he compromise his ideals, or take drastic measures to keep the Silk Road alive? The answer would define the Silk Road's legacy and shape the debate over freedom, technology, and the law for years to come. Was he a visionary or a criminal kingpin willing to cross any line? The world watched as the story unfolded, divided over whether Ulbricht was a hero or a villain. The truth would soon come to light as authorities closed in and the Silk Road saga reached its dramatic climax. And it would shock the world, forever changing the conversation about the dark web and digital freedom. At first, the Silk Road was about commerce, drugs, not violence. It was a digital bazaar, a place where buyers and sellers could meet in the shadows, shielded by encryption and anonymity. The idea was radical, a marketplace free from government control, where people could make their own choices, for better or worse. Dread Pirate Roberts set rules. No weapons, no stolen goods, no harm. The site's code of conduct was strict, almost utopian, and it was enforced with surprising rigor. The goal was to create a community, not a den of chaos. But as money poured in, the lines blurred. The lure of easy profit began to erode those early ideals, and the Silk Road's reputation started to shift. When a trusted staff member allegedly stole Bitcoin, Ulbricht faced a dilemma. How do you enforce justice in a lawless world? There was no court to appeal to, no police to call. The only law was the one you made yourself. He couldn't call the police, so he allegedly turned to murder for hire. In the absence of legal authority, darker solutions emerged, whispered about in encrypted chats. FBI records later revealed chilling messages. Ulbricht negotiating hits on blackmailers and thieves, sending Bitcoin to supposed hitmen. The evidence painted a picture of a man willing to cross any line to protect his creation. The language was cold, businesslike, cleanup jobs discussed as if they were just another transaction. Human lives reduced to numbers and code, handled with chilling detachment. Over time, prosecutors alleged, Ulbricht ordered up to 6 hits to protect his empire. Each new accusation added to the growing legend and the growing horror of the Silk Road. Whether the murders happened or not, the Silk Road's transformation was clear. What began as a libertarian experiment had become something far darker, haunted by the threat of real-world violence. It was no longer just a drug market. It had become a platform for potential real-world violence, a place where digital actions could have deadly consequences. Investigators now had to ask, was the site's founder a philosopher or a mob boss? Was he a visionary or simply a criminal mastermind hiding behind a screen? The digital ghost they hunted might have blood on his hands. The line between idealism and brutality had all but vanished. The stakes had never been higher, and the world was watching to see how far the darkness would spread. The murder-for-hire allegations were shocking, but mostly unproven, until one case blurred the line between rumor and reality. In late 2012, a young Californian drug dealer, let's call him Michael, vanished without a trace. Michael was active on the Silk Road and had recently clashed with a powerful supplier. His disappearance was abrupt. Car abandoned, apartment untouched, no signs of struggle. Police found only digital clues, an encrypted laptop and USB drive. Months of forensic work revealed Michael's Silk Road activity and escalating online conflicts. The timeline of his messages matched his disappearance. No direct evidence of a hit was found, but the circumstantial case was strong. Michael had angered someone high up in the Silk Road hierarchy. He was never seen again. His case became a haunting example of how online threats could spill into the real world. The line between digital and physical danger had vanished. For years, Dread Pirate Roberts was a ghost, untraceable, untouchable. Law enforcement agencies worldwide chased digital shadows, stymied by Tor and Bitcoin's anonymity. The breakthrough came not from hacking, but from patience. IRS agent Gary Alford traced Bitcoin transactions, while undercover agents infiltrated the Silk Road, posing as drug traffickers. One agent, Nob, even became a staff member, communicating directly with Dread Pirate Roberts. The investigation was a high-stakes chess match. Then, a stroke of luck. An old forum post by Altoid mentioned Silk Road and was linked to an email address. That email led to Ross Ulbricht. The ghost finally had a name. The hunt was nearly over. Now, they just had to catch him in the act. The net was closing in. With Ulbricht identified, the FBI moved fast. They tracked him to San Francisco, where he lived quietly, blending in. The challenge catch him logged into the Silk Road as Dread Pirate Roberts. Agents staged a diversion at a public library, distracting Ulbricht just long enough to seize his open laptop. On the screen, the Silk Road's master control panel. The evidence was overwhelming. Journals, spreadsheets, and chat logs detailing the site's creation and the alleged murder-for-hire plots. Ulbricht was arrested, stunned. The digital kingpin had been dethroned. Years of anonymity ended in seconds. The case against him was airtight. The Silk Road's mastermind was finally unmasked. The empire had fallen. In 2021, Hollywood brought the Silk Road saga to the big screen. The film dramatized the cat-and-mouse chase, but took major creative liberties. The lead investigator became a fictional composite, simplifying a complex, multi-agency effort. The movie glossed over the murder-for-hire evidence, leaving viewers uncertain about Ulbricht's true intentions. In reality, prosecutors presented extensive evidence of 6 murder plots and over $700,000 in Bitcoin sent to alleged hitmen. No bodies were found, but Ulbricht's intent was central to his conviction. The film captured the drama, but not the full darkness or technical complexity of the real story. The truth was messier, more chilling, and far more sobering. The Silk Road's legacy is not just cinematic, it's a cautionary tale about the dangers of digital anonymity. The real story is stranger and scarier than fiction. With Ulbricht's arrest, the Silk Road was shut down and its homepage replaced by an FBI notice. The trial was a media sensation. Ulbricht's defense claimed he was a scapegoat, but the evidence was overwhelming. In 2015, he was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to double life plus 40 years. The murder-for-hire allegations, though not formally charged, weighed heavily in his sentencing. But the story didn't end there. New dark web markets quickly emerged, learning from Ulbricht's mistakes and improving security. The game of cat and mouse continued, but none matched the Silk Road's notoriety. Ulbricht had been more than an administrator. He was a figurehead with a vision, however twisted. His successors were more anonymous, more businesslike, and less charismatic. The Silk Road proved such sites could exist and inspired countless imitators. Its blueprint would shape the dark web for years to come. A decade later, the Silk Road's shadow still looms. Ross Ulbricht sits in prison, his supporters protesting his sentence. The site's most disturbing questions remain unanswered, especially the murder-for-hire plots. Did any of the 6 alleged hits actually happen? No bodies were found, and the truth remains elusive. The disappearance of the Californian dealer is still an open case. The Silk Road forced us to confront the dark side of digital freedom. Its technologies, Tor and Bitcoin, still fuel debates about privacy and crime. The saga is a stark reminder. The internet's power can liberate but also destroy. The real danger isn't just what happened, but how easily it could happen again. The Silk Road's darkest secret may be that its story is far from over.